Ade. My name is Marcia Greyeyes, and I am the community manager for the studio located in Tuba City. Work for Change Labs. And what we do is, overall, we have 5 programs, and we also provide tools and resources and knowledge building opportunities to Native American entrepreneurs in the Four Corners area. One of the questions we get asked a lot is, how do I start a business? For questions related to what I just read, we have business coaching, and we offer business coaching every Monday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you would like to make an appointment with one of our business coaches, you can visit nativestartup.org/events. And there should be a listing of coaches. There's a different one every Monday. So book an opportunity with one of our coaches. And the coaching sessions are usually an hour and a half long. We also have a business incubator program where we select 10 startups or Native American entrepreneurs every year. And we help them with everything from marketing to their financials and everything in between. So it's a good opportunity. I believe we're going to be opening applications again in February. Another question we get asked a lot is, how do I create a website? For that, we have a YouTube channel. We also have a lot of our workshop videos, actually all of our workshop videos for 2021 on our YouTube channel. It's under Change Labs. Please subscribe. We have more than 35 videos on the social media outlet. You can visit us at nativestartup.org/resources, or you can get onto YouTube and just type in Change Labs, and you should be able to see the videos that we have. How do I get help running my business is another question we get asked a lot. And for that, we have a creative co-working space. We're going to be closing in this month just because we're moving to a new location. But the idea behind the co-working space is a place for networking, for a desk space if you need to do some work. We also have printers and various other machines like Cricut and button makers if you want to do some prototype for your marketing. So those are available. And we also have Res Rising, which is an app that you can download onto your mobile device. And we have over 600 businesses on there, Native-owned businesses in the Four Corners area. You can add your business, it's free, and it's more or less like a yellow page / like a little profile page for your business. And if you have any more questions, you can email me at marsha@nativestartup.org. And we ask that you stay on mute until Q&A, or if the speaker wants, it allows you to ask your questions, that's fine as well. Just unmute yourself. But remember to put yourself back on mute. Type your questions in chat. The session is being recorded for YouTube, so just FYI, it'll be available on our YouTube channel. And an announcement, some announcements we have is we are hiring. You can go to nativestartup.org/jobs. The 2 openings we have currently are community advocate and communications and brand manager. And join us in November for the COVID-19 Navajo Business Dialogue, which would be every 4 instances of the COVID-19 Business Dialogue. So the first one would be November 10th, 12 p.m., which would be geared towards tourism. November 17th is food and hospitality. December 1st is artisan and retail, and December 8th is our priorities. And I'm going to turn it over to Heather to introduce Jenna.
Thanks, Marsha. Good morning, everybody. Yat Eshe, Heather Fleming Inishia, and I serve as the Executive Director of Change Labs. And I wanted to do just a little bit of stage setting this morning before handing it over to our guest. The global beauty industry is worth billions of dollars, like hundreds of billions of dollars. 511 is what Google told me this morning, $511 billion. And it's been around for thousands of years in some way, shape, or form. And yet, despite the fact that it's been around this long, it's really only been the last 5 years that we began to see this industry attempt to address its lack of representation, the lack of diversity. And in that time period, we have seen a number of Indigenous beauty brands rise in popularity, including our own Asha Beauty on the Navajo Nation. So today, we're really excited to feature a brand and a Native founder that's seriously shattered glass ceilings. Cheekbone Beauty is an Indigenous-owned and founded Canadian cosmetics company established in 2016. It's based out of Ontario, and they're known for creating high-quality, cruelty-free beauty products delivered in sustainable packaging. I have a bunch here that you can actually plant in your garden. And today we'll hear from their founder, Jennifer Harper, about why she chose this path, how she got started, and also some of the lessons that she's learned along the way. And I also hope that Jenn speaks to the larger mission of Cheekbone Beauty, which includes its philanthropic commitments to Native communities, its commitments to Indigenous youth, and also its work to create a space in the beauty industry where Indigenous people feel represented and seen. So we're very honored to host Jenn today, but before I hand it over to her, we do also have a giveaway today. So Marsha, if you can go on to the next slide. We were very lucky to receive a variety of beauty samples from Jenn, compliments of Cheekbone. So we're gonna pass on some of our gifts to you all today. So one of the participants will announce it at the end. We're just going to put all your names in like a Google random selection generator thing. And one of you is going to get this fantastic eye pencil and then a beautiful red lip for the holidays. So we'll pick a name at the end. But right now, I just want to welcome Jenn Harper. Thank you so much for joining us at Change Labs.
Ani Dijnakas, Jenn Harper. I'm just greeting you in Anishinaabemowin, the language of my people. I am from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, which is in the southern part of Ontario, and we're really close to the Niagara Falls border. So if anyone knows, I always say that because everybody knows where Niagara Falls is. And the land that I currently reside on is traditionally the homelands of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe people. My family and our reservation is in northwestern Ontario, so almost at the border of Manitoba and Minnesota. They tell me there's a res road that just goes across the border where nobody's checking any of our IDs or anything like that. But this is, it sounds like a legend, but apparently it is true from my family members' sources tell me, which I would love to find it because it'd be so much easier for us sometimes to get products across that way. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here and speak with everyone this afternoon or this morning, depending on where we're calling in from. It's 1 o'clock here, our time. And I'm just enjoying being bathed in some beautiful sunshine because in our part of the world, November happens to be like a really, really gray month. So it's super sunny right now and I'm enjoying that. So thank you, Creator. So I have no business really being in the beauty industry. A little bit about my history is I was in the food industry for about 15 years, if not longer. I'm trying to do the math. And I was selling seafood for 8 years with a company out of Toronto, and my territory was all over Southern Ontario. And literally life experience and sort of one obstacle after another got me where I am. So I'll get into my presentation so that I can share more details about that with you. And can everyone see the screen okay? participants can now see your screen. Perfect. So this is a picture of my beautiful grandmother. We call her Cookum. Her name is Emily Paul. She's since passed away, but it's her story that really, truly is part of the core and the foundation of Cheekbone Beauty, our brand. My grandmother was a residential school survivor, so I know in the last year, in major news outlets like the New York Times, every news outlet in Canada, but I know also in the US, the discovery of small Native American, Native Canadian children were found at a lot of boarding schools, and in Canada we called them residential schools. And my grandmother went to one of those schools. She was there from the time she was 6 years old, so taken from our family at that age until she was 16. And I always like to explain it that it's not like a fancy boarding school where kids get to go home in the summer or spend holidays with their family. It would be all year long, and her experience was very traumatic. She would be physically punished and beaten for speaking Anishinaabemowin. I know that story is common, not just to my family, as we've learned throughout the years, but common to many First People families that had to have this experience of residential school. So people that survived that system left with very deep scars and a lot of trauma. And we see how that has negatively impacted our communities down to this day. To the point where many of us have struggled or have had family members that have struggled with things like addiction and suicide. And I'm sharing with you a picture of my brother BJ, because very tragically, and we lost him, he took his life in September of 2016. This was when I was just starting the business, but had shared so much of what I was trying to build with my brother earlier that year. I had done a ton of research and development, and I was talking about the kind of products I was wanted to create and bring to the market. And, I really shared with him, I think, the brand vision, and our mission and vision as a brand is helping every Indigenous kid on the planet see and feel their value in the world. Well, we craft sustainable color cosmetics. And he was so moved by the work that I really wanted to accomplish, explaining to him that, no, we're going to make and create products, but it's really about taking a portion of those profits and turning it into funds that we can give back to community. And very, very proudly, to date, our business has been able to donate back to communities, several different Native and youth organizations, and across North America, over $150,000. We've always been super transparent and honest that was our mission, and that will never, ever leave the foundation of the brand that we're trying to build, that it is really about giving back. So not only is this cash donations to the First Nation Child and Family Caring Society, we did a project with the Dig Deep organization. So on Navajo land, we were able to support a project with we call what we do streams of giving, how we give back. And I'm really proud of our team and all the work that we do surrounding that, because that is really the focus, again, like I said, and the impetus of the brand. So getting a family clean drinking water and solar power through that organization. We've planted back over 3,000 trees across North America, in California and British Columbia, here in Canada. And that's because we're doing as much as we possibly can, not only for our communities, but also environmentally speaking, but we'll get into more of that. Well, losing BJ, it is an extremely painful companion, but it has literally been the driving force behind what's kept me working so hard on this brand. And I know, and I truly believe it is the only reason that we've been this successful is because of that driving force. And so everything that we do, he said something to me that last time I saw him alive. He said, Jen, what you're doing with Cheekbone is going to be great. Our kids need hope and help. And he saw this succeeding. And so when someone says something like that, it's like in my heart. And that's literally why I'll never, ever give up on making this brand the largest and global Indigenous brand in the world. So this is just a beautiful picture that really represents, I think, everything early on as a brand we were trying to do. That's my daughter, and that's an elder from a community in the on the Six Nations territory here in Canada, and she agreed to be in this the first photo shoot I think we ever had. With, of course, we still don't use always real models. We use real people. But I just loved, they really had a strong connection that day. And it was truly beautiful. But it was this concept of generational healing and passing on wisdom generationally. When I think about the impacts of residential school, I learned a term that helped me heal. I really share my personal story with that is I struggled with alcohol for many years. I battled alcoholism. I got sober in 2014, and I literally had the dream to build Cheekbone Beauty in 2015. And I learned at that time, throughout 2015, they launched a paper document called the TRC, which is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. They launched a final report. So this was the Canadian government and survivors and people that were around during residential school, because the last residential school here in Canada didn't close until 1996, which is crazy, but that is in fact true. And so there were still lots of survivors. And I read that report, and it's literally was like 500-600 pages of just traumatic information. And it was the first time in my life that I understood this term called generational or transgenerational trauma. So the pain that my grandmother experienced was not only passed on to my father and my aunties and my uncles, but then ultimately passed on to me and my siblings, including my brother. And that trauma still impacts so many of our families today. And the systems that were built around it are still negatively impacting us today. But our goal as a brand at Cheekbone Beauty is to drown out, I think, the negative of all the things that have affected us negatively as Indigenous people, and be a force of love and gratitude. And we want to be this positive force for Indigenous youth around the world, that no matter what's happening, even though things appear to be negative, we're like this giant machine that's just driving over all the negative and drowning it out. But Cheekbone Beauty is rising above that and going to show our next generations, one, the incredible potential that they have, and all of their abilities and everything that they could possibly do and go into the world and make and create, that because Cheekbone Beauty succeeds, that they will see themselves now, not only as possibly entrepreneurs, but as global brand founders for the future. And so that's our big, big vision we have here. And I'm excited that we're well on our way. So this is a picture of me. In Canada, we have a show that's called Dragon's Den, but it's exactly like Shark Tank. So I think anyone who's been an entrepreneur I know knows those kinds of shows. So I pitched Cheekbone Beauty on Dragon's Den here in Canada in 2019. And as I was building the business, so for the first 3 years, I started this at the end of 2016, 2017, 2018, and not until August 2019 was I able to quit my full-time job. And so when I talk about that passion and the pain that was actually fueling me to continue through all of this, it's not sustainable, number one, meaning I was working literally 80 to 100 hour work weeks during that period of time. And I was working on this business all by myself, but I had to prove that this brand, this idea had legs, that there was a market, that people cared about our brand. It wasn't until Dragon's Den in that September of 2019 that I was finally able to go really all in on the business, because we all have I have 2 teenage children. I have a husband. I have bills to pay. And so I couldn't give up my work, my job that was paying those things until I proved that Cheekbone Beauty could be successful. At that same time, I got to turn down a terrible offer on the Dragon's Den. The one dragon wanted 50% of the company for $125,000, which is absolutely insane when you're an early startup. Never give up equity if you don't have to. That's some advice I've learned along the way. Or until you need to, because capital costs are extremely expensive, and depending on the kind of business or the direction you want to take your business, you do need funding. And for us, it was all about building out this sustainable line, which to me has been not only is our mission and vision extremely important about empowering Indigenous youth, but we wanted to reimagine how products were created and sold in the market. The beauty industry notoriously is part of the massive problem of waste in this world, and plastic packaging is not conducive to us healing the planet. And so we work so hard here at Cheekbone Beauty to make sure we're making all those changes, especially that we're not greenwashing, that we're telling our customers the absolute truth and being 100% transparent with everyone about how we do and make things. And so behind the scenes from Dragon's Den, I was able to meet an organization called Raven Capital Inc. And I'm always more than happy to talk to anybody about investment and how that worked for us. They came to me behind the scenes. So I never knew that this kind of investment deal actually existed. It's called a convertible debt deal. And they offered me $350,000 for no equity at that point. It just means if our relationship didn't work out, I would have to pay back that $350,000 it was a very reasonable interest rate. And if it did work out, our relationship, they would then turn that $350,000, so convertible, into debt. That debt would then turn into equity. So now our relationship with Raven has grown. They're an Indigenous social impact investment fund out of Vancouver, Canada. And I know that they are now working and operating in the United States, looking for Native American businesses to invest in as well. And so if anyone needs a contact or information about that organization, I'm happy to oblige. And to be perfectly honest, they've been incredible to work with. They've literally continued just to fuel the funds to help us build Cheekbone Beauty and become what it is today. Without their investment, we would have not have been able to reimagine products and packaging the way we have. So really, really grateful for that. This is just one of my favorite pictures. One, I love Kesha. She is an Afro-Indigenous. She's not even a model. She's like a real person, but she does a lot of activism in our community, and she's just absolutely stunning. And her smile is infectious. And so anytime we've had her at any of our photo shoots, it's left a lasting impression. And what she's holding is one of the original products that we brought to market. And it was very special in terms of the branding and how we brought this line to existence. All of these liquid lipsticks were called the Warrior Women Collection. And I thought about my personal experience in life, my childhood, and I had no Indigenous role models. I didn't have anyone that I felt like I could relate to publicly or where a platform. My mom was not into folk music, so I did not even know about Buffy St. Marie because she's an icon. And we have a lipstick named after her. So with this collection, we actually named all these different shades after incredible Native American, Native Canadian women that were just doing incredible work within their communities, as well as Native South Americans as well. Sonia is an activist in Brazil, I believe. But all of her work focuses on the Amazon rainforest and the damage that's being done there. And we were just so passionate about sharing these stories because our kids need role models. They need people that look like them so that they can feel seen. And we live and stand by the saying here at Cheekbone Beauty, when you see it, you can be it. And so that's what we create the role models for. And you will be the first to see that these are all coming back, our Warrior Women collection. However, in a brand new formulation. The supplier, you know, the reality is the entrance into the beauty industry, the bar is very low. Like many industries now, you can have any manufacturer sell you a product and put your logo on it, but you have no control over the packaging, which is the exterior component of a product, or the ingredients. That really bothered me, and that's where Cheekbone Beauty changed everything in 2020. We are now proud to say every item we sell here is clean ingredients coming from natural sources, many times organic, but we actually know every ingredient, where it comes from, where it's sourced, how it's harvested, and that's how all of our products are now made, as well as we have complete control over all the component packaging. So our new warriors are back, and they will launch at the end of the month. So you're really the first to see these in their new packaging. And then I think the Warrior Women collection will exist, and the way I see it will go on forever and only grow to continue to empower Indigenous kids. Then this is the first product that we launched under that sustain line. So this was a really passionate part of the brand for me personally. Again, remember, no experience in the beauty space. So I literally started from scratch. I had to figure out how I was going to create a lipstick formulation, so the raw ingredients that met our biodegradable standards, so that every ingredient, even in the actual lipstick itself, what a lot of consumers don't realize is a lot of ingredients that were in products are not biodegradable. They don't come from biodegradable sources, meaning when you wash your face with a cleanser, or whether it's shampoos or the makeup coming off your face at the end of the day, that's going back into our ecosystems, anything that hits our waterways. And so we use a system here called life cycle thinking. From the beginning of harvest to the end of life of a product, what happens all along the way. And we want to share in the future, we will be able to share with our community the exact metrics of what's happening. So how many lipsticks we do no longer sell. This is paper, 100% biodegradable paper, and compostable packaging made with vegetable dye inks. So the ink is not going to impact the land either. There's one piece that has to be plastic, but we're now part of an organization called the Pact Collective, where we're going to start to collect the plastic pieces back, because I won't go into a ton of detail, but the whole concept of the recycling systems is not real. Most of the products that consumers think are being recycled are actually not. It's only about 8% of products actually get recycled. If something is black plastic, you can throw that in your recycling bin and they're going to throw it in a landfill. Black or any dark colored plastics never ever get repurposed or recycled, because they can't change the color back. The best thing to get recycled to ensure recycling is aluminum, because it's forever recyclable. So that's why we made our new products in aluminum tins, as well as, so our new blush bronzers come in aluminum tins, and then you can repurpose them or reuse them for something else. But at the end of the day, if this does hit the recycling bin, this has value and will get recycled. Our lip gloss containers are clear and lighter plastic, so those will get recycled, but it also is made from PCR. So this is made from 50% already recycled plastic. So we have literally spent so much, I personally, and I work with a team of scientists that help us understand sustainability and what it really means, and that it's very nuanced, that there's not one full right solution for packaging. If you think, a lot of times people ask us, well, why haven't you used glass? Maybe is one item. Glass is very heavy to transport, which then makes your carbon footprint greater. So it's that concept of the life cycle thinking. So doing a full analysis of everything that we sell and make here is part of the work that we do. And I'm really excited that we are in the process of our B Corp application. B Corp businesses are audited through this organization called B Corporation, which actually has helped us become so much more accountable as a brand. We don't want to just say we're doing these things. We actually want to show everyone how and why we're doing them. And yes, this is 100% very costly, but the investors that we work with at Raven Capital believed in us doing this as a brand. Everybody in the actual beauty industry right now, if you're not making things that are sustainable, literally point blank, folks are saying there's no point in even being in the industry, because the whole industry is moving towards this direction. And literally right now at this time in history, there's only about 6%. It's what I learned actually just on a call yesterday morning, of brands in the beauty industry are working on this mission. And so I believe and know that Cheekbone Beauty is going to be an amazing, incredible global brand that is doing things sustainably. And people around the world are going to appreciate all the work we're doing. And that doesn't come from me. I always say I'm not any special founder that knows anything else. I truly believe that the more I learn about Indigenous teachings and different Indigenous cultures around the world, we are and always have been the land keepers. An article that I read in National Geographic, Indigenous people make up 5% of the global population, but we are protecting 80% of the world's biodiversity. And I know everyone on this call will understand why. And it's this beautiful, special, incredible bond that Indigenous people, that we as Native people have with the land. We know that we're in relationship with everything. Unfortunately, from a Western perspective, everything is commodity based, and they actually think they own this land, which is kind of funny, right? Because we know it doesn't belong to us. We are just keepers of this, and we are givers of it back to those who will come after us. And so with that insight and incredible, beautiful Indigenous knowledge and wisdom, I know that we are creating such a special brand that the world is craving and needs now more than ever. And the most exciting thing that happened to us this year, despite struggling through a pandemic, owning and operating a business during times where people are wearing masks and you're selling makeup has not been easy. But we started our Sephora Canada relationship this year, which we're really, really excited about. We launched online with Sephora Canada in September, just it feels like forever ago, but it was really just a couple months ago, 2 months ago, I think now, not even a month and a half ago. And we're so excited about this because Sephora is literally the global beauty retailer. They are a brand that exists around the world and is very well known for bringing, really high quality products to their customer and a high quality customer experience. And so we're really grateful for their partnership. We're, I think, the first Indigenous brand ever to be in their stores, which is awesome. And, we just started, we've been talking to Sephora US for a long time, and they're hopefully, crossing our fingers and toes, you'll see us in some US locations coming into the next year. And so this is just, adding that layer to our platform, making our products accessible to the world for people that are even non-Indigenous to learn and understand and see the beauty of our culture in a very thoughtful and authentic way, as well as, feeding into our mission that when any Indigenous kid, our goal is if they go around the world and they stopped and saw in a Sephora store and they saw our brand, can you imagine what they're going to feel like when they say and know one of our people, they did that, they built this? That has been the whole goal for everything that we do all along. And so we're grateful that we are definitely on the path to make that happen and just continue to empower our kids. So another part of this incredible partnership with Sephora Canada is we won an award back in June and it was $1 million, which sounds like a lot, but the more I learn about ad spend, it's not as much as I thought. In ad spend from Bell Media. So that is the largest media, I think, company in Canada. And this ad spend meant would be, this pays for your ads to whether it's a TV commercial, an out of home option, which is like or digital ads, or posters that you've seen like on bus stops or billboards or those kinds of things. That's the kind of ads that we'd be putting out. And then they also own they own networks here in Canada, so TV networks. And they, we're grateful that we won that award with our creative agency, Sidley, in Toronto. And I got to the meeting after with Sidley, and I'm like, so this is just $1 million for the ads. I'm like, what are we putting out? Like, what's the production? And so thought this was great until I realized we had no money. Like, our cash flow was, it was at its limits, and there was no way we could add production of an actual commercial into the budgets for this year. And so Sidley, who's donated now about, a lot of hours back to our brand, and they went out and sought out to help find us how we're going to fund making a production, making an ad, if you will. And they helped us immensely. They did all the creative completely pro bono. So you'll see this ad go live on November 15th. And it is really I'm like obviously super biased, but is literally the most beautiful commercial / ad I've ever seen. It's really representing Indigenous people in a way that I feel has been missing in the media. One, we're trying to knock out, like I said, all of the negative media stories and just show how incredible we are as a people and what we have to bring to all of those tables that we are going to bring seats to and pull up our own chairs at, or sit on the ground if we feel like it, because that's who we are and what we do. But it just is such a powerful message that we're modern people, that we have all different kinds of roles in society, but we're still our stories, and that we have incredible stories to share with the world, that aren't always based on the negative history or past. And so Sidley, the agency that supported this, just did an incredible job of portraying that. And then the entire cast, crew, everybody on these sets were all Indigenous, which I'm so empowered just by that personally. The commercial was shot up in the Yukon, so our people from that territory really shared so many incredible stories, and you'll see in the production they got to write in their language in one of the images, and it's really beautiful. So I will be sharing that with everyone on November 15th. So if you don't follow Cheekbone Beauty, follow those pages to see it, because unfortunately the ad spend is only for Canada, not for the United States, but you'll find it all over our socials, because this commercial just needs to be seen by everyone, and we're going to do our best to make sure we get it out there. There's so much more to come. That growth into the US for us is a critical piece of our growth as a brand. And so I know you'll be finding us soon. We know we're going to be working with Nordstrom for sure in 2022. And the next step is just launching into Sephora as well. So exciting stuff to come. I couldn't have done any of this without this incredible community of people that we've built. I used to spend a lot more time on social media, and I know the early days of building the brand, it's all about the people and everything that they bring to help us grow to get where we are. So I'm grateful for that. And this, I'm no longer doing this alone. We have a team of people that support us. We actually did some incredible work this year in terms of how we, adding to when I think of our life cycle thinking, we built our own lab here at Cheekbone Beauty and employ a full-time chemist as well as those science, sustainability and chemist experts to help us create and make products, which is something when I think about how we make change in the world, Something I don't think that gets talked enough about is Indigenous innovation. And I feel like that's going to be something you'll hear a lot more about our brand and what we've done in terms of, we're working on a project that I don't want to go too much into detail, but we've always talked about, we use waste as an ingredient in some of our products. So, those teachings where we're using everything from all the resources we have so that we're not wasting and leaving less waste and repurposing waste. And so we're in what you call the fruit belt of this part of our country, in this land. And so there's a lot of agriculture. And so we're working in partnership with some local producers and taking their waste, and we're going to see what we can turn it into. A lot of incredible things that come from nature, from the creator, are filled with incredible actives that we hear about in cosmetic goods and products. And so I'm so excited that for someone who actually never did well in high school science, I will be 100% honest about that. This is something that fascinates me, that we have a lab right here behind me at our facility. And when you're in there and thinking about things you can create and make, it's pretty fascinating. And I'm really, really excited about these future projects. So you'll see, we're going to be adding more items to our brand that fall more under the skincare realm. And we create products now that we talk about them being not only good for you and your skin, like it's color cosmetics that are actually good for you and your skin, and then for the planet. They do not leave a negative impact on the planet. And all the while, we get to empower Indigenous youth. Well, we get to make all those things. Miigwech, thank you for your time. And I am here to answer any questions for anybody. I will stop sharing.
Hi, this is Denise McClellan. I'm actually one of the participants with the Change Lab program. I want to just applaud you on your passion. I see that you love and want to honor your heritage, and you are a great role model for Indigenous people overall. And I did want to ask, was there a time during like the startup of your business where you did have doubts? And what did you do to kind of, how did you overcome that? And then my second question is, as a proud business owner myself, there are like a lot of constraints with working on Navajo, like on Navajo reservation. Did you work with your native reserve there? And how were they able to help you?
Yeah, those are awesome questions. Perfect. So my reservation is farther away, and we're a small group. Like there's 3 First Nation communities like right on our res road. And in our community, there's less than 200 people, or less than 2 in Canada. We call them band members. I know in the US, you call them tribal members. So I'm only one of less than 200 band members. And so the capital or the funding that would go to anyone there or supports for business is really, really small. So then we have a couple other business organizations that are Indigenous here in Canada where you could go apply to get some help. So I did, but early on, remember I said I had to keep working at my job first. So early on, they were like, no, you can't have a job to get the funding. And it was for smaller amounts like 5,000 or 10,000, which really would have helped early on for sure. Cause I started literally with like $500 in my basement, but I was denied the access to help. So about giving up, yeah, totally. Like that is real. Like this is really, really hard. And it only gets harder as you keep growing, like much like I think everything in life, the older we get, just the bigger our problems get. Like, and I'm like, so I literally, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna take off my earrings because they keep clanking. And Warren Scott, a wonderful Indigenous earring maker here in Canada. But they were clanking and I can't hear with my headphones. They were like hitting them. Sorry about that. So I always say, and this is what I had to learn, like, because of the amount of, I feel like our communities have to do so much healing while we're creating our businesses, that I had to spend a lot of time every day. And just, I'm being totally honest with everyone here, is I had to spend a lot of day working on a lot of the days at first, and I still do, working on myself. Like, I have a morning routine where I'm in nature, I'm doing fitness, I'm like, I pray, I'm doing, like, I breathe, all of those things really, really matter. So I'm working on me and healing. And then only after do I feel like whole, then I can go and do the work, because it would be easy to give up if I wasn't continually working on myself. So that's a big part of becoming an entrepreneur, is that knowing that you got to continually work on yourself. And then I really honestly feel like our communities have to do that even harder because of all of the constant impacts of negativity that still exist and can't be ignored. But those are obstacles that are meant to be overcome. And I literally sometimes will grab a mirror and say, the fact that we are still here, they wanted us to all disappear, like to be gone and not be who we are today. They didn't want us embracing our culture and having all of those things. And the fact that we are still here doing that is empowering in itself and shows how resilient we truly are as Indigenous people. And so sometimes you just gotta, it's like that, what are they called? Affirmations, like giving yourself that pep talk. And entrepreneurship is lonely, and a lot of times it is just you're talking to. And I know I'm comfortable in this group, but you know, praying to the Creator for support is not, that's what we do as Indigenous people. And it's that connection that's really important to stay whole and healthy.
Wow, that is, wow, powerful messaging. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you. I see a question here in the chat, so I'm going to try to answer it. Can you share with us who the, yes, so hold on, we will be very useful here. I'll learn how to use my tools. I'm going to put Raven Capital's website link here because they're called Raven Capital Inc., based out of Vancouver, Canada. And like literally incredible partnership, incredible resource. They are working on accelerator programs to even whoever they're investing in, they still want to be continually there supporting them and helping them. So I added the website there so everyone can find it. And I know that they didn't start out investing in the US, but they just, I think they're just signing some deals with some Native American businesses this last couple of weeks. So that's really exciting. And the other question, I saw one more.
Jen, for the recording purposes, I'm going to go ahead and read out the question to you so that those who are watching on YouTube can catch it later. So the question from Lovejoy is, what is one thing you regret not implementing earlier in your journey that was very successful for you?
That's a great question. Like, excellent. Because, yeah, I don't know. And it's really hard to answer because the truth is, it's almost like at every stage you learn something new. And if you're not making a mistake, you're not learning. Like, as weird as that sounds, like you would love to avoid making that one mistake, but it's almost part of the process, right? I wish I knew how much money from Raven I might have needed earlier on, because I really felt like we had to test the market with this private label manufacturer. But right now, because all of the way we transformed our brand, all of our products are now, we have that clean approval. If you go on you won't see it probably because you're logging in from the US, but getting that clean seal of approval from Sephora, being sustainable, or what Sephora calls planet positive. I wish we would have made those changes earlier, in all honesty, because I feel like I just wasted a couple years selling products. But the truth is, I couldn't afford to. I didn't have the money to start making the sustainable collection, and nor did I think an investor probably would have never even paid attention to me without proving that our numbers from year 1 and year 2 were growing, and then to year 3. So I kind of had to do it that way. As much as I wish I was able to create the sustainable line earlier.
All right, and we have another question from Joe. He says, I'm looking at the Cheekbone Beauty website now. The ending of the Our Story section is the word, oh no, Miigwech. I apologize. He says, what is that?
It. It's thank you in Anishinaabemowin. So you'll see even at the top, if you go onto lips, we put the word for lips in Anishinaabemowin. So we added our language to the homepage. However, our sustained lipstick collection, we have a Kia, or if I'm saying it right, so we added the word for land or earth because we were so proud of this earth collection, and land, we wanted it to relate to the land. So we named every lipstick after an Indigenous language from around North America. So we have Ohor, which is the word for land of the Tongva people from Los Angeles. And then that color is like a 90s brown, which related to like LA for us. And then we have Haki, which is from the language, I messed it up. I think it's from New York, the Lepang people. I'm probably messing up. But then we have Kia, which is, did I say that right? Or is it Kia? Anyone correct me? For the word for land. Kea. So we're gonna have to change that.
Correct.
Well, so that's our word for this lipstick, which is we tried to make it so that it's like a nude color, but then sort of matches the land. All of your land has that like sort of peachy oranginess to it, right? So that's why we tried to make the lipstick that way. So we're trying to get super creative when we're coming up with products, and we thought that it would be a neat thing to do.
That is awesome. Another question from Joe. He wants to know what sort of book recommendations that you have for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Okay, I have lots. But so my favorite, one book that I literally read for 10 years every year was called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's like an old book, believe it or not, written by like an old white dude, but it's very practical in terms of the relationship building. Like entrepreneurship's about how you can get along with people, right? And you want to learn to network and make the right connections. And so I just found that book to be very valuable over the years. And then my favorite thing to do is read other entrepreneur stories. So I've read several books about entrepreneurs that have had successful businesses, like Shoe Dog, which is the story about Nike and its founder, Phil Knight, I believe is his name. So Shoe Dog. I just finished reading the book that Mark Benioff wrote. He's the founder of Salesforce, and I can't remember the name. Anything by Alex Grant right now too. It's like, isn't it Think, hold on, let me Google it. I'm just going to start that one next. Alex Grant. But I'm sure you want ones that I have read. What else stands out that is like a favorite business book? Okay, this one is like The E-Myth, so when you're new and you're building a business, you don't think about, I think, all the systems and processes. Like, even though it's just me, I read The E-Myth and a book called Traction. And it was about starting off your business almost as if you already have all those, like, I think of the org chart, right? At a company, once a company grows and has this big organizational chart. So it was like, build the business like you almost have all of those things in place, even though it's just you and no one else is doing it. But because I did that, I felt like I saw where I needed people to come in and help when I started hiring. And so in the E-Myth and Traction, it was called, like, they would show you that pie of like operations, finance, and marketing are like the three key sort of facets of every business, and every role kind of stems off those. And then another amazing book is Knowing Your Why by Simon Sinek. That really helped me understand how important it was. We've always been very clear about our why at Cheekbone Beauty, but knowing that we make sure we add it into everything that we do and continue to do is really important.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
This is Joe Baya. I wanted to just say that from some of these simple questions, like what's your favorite book, or some of the other presenters, I asked them, what's your favorite comedian talk show, like John Oliver or Bill Maher. I'm starting to see a trend in a lot of the answers that are being given with what people have read, inspired. But thank you. Just want to say thank you for presenting and sharing some insight to the success, inspiration, why, the drive. But just wanted to say thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from Kelly. She says, what financial conditions did you have to meet before you quit your day job? Was it an emergency fund? And was it until you were making as much or more than your day job?
Great question. And it was literally just enough to pay myself so I could, the reality is I had to say to my husband, okay, I'm quitting my job and I'm not going to make as much as I was there, but this is enough that I figured out that, you won't have to stress, right? So it was really that amount. And I wasn't able to quit until the investors came in. And when you're working with great investors, they make sure and say every entrepreneur should be paying themselves, right? And they should be paying themselves so that they can live and not be starving. And so, because that's how you know you're building an effective business, is if you can pay yourself and pay the people that you're working with as well. So no emergency fund for sure, but just enough to really have enough to do all that. Like, we have two kids, one at the age of going into university and another one coming. So of course my husband, it was like, you can't quit your job and not have any income. Like, you have to have enough money so that we have still money going into those things that we need to help our kids out with, right?
All right, and then we have another question here from Kiara, who joined a little bit late. And Kiara, just a side note, I'm going to put a link to our YouTube channel so that you can rewatch this fabulous presentation by Jenn. So she asks, what were the high level, I added in the word high level, steps you had to take to get to where you are now?
So the Cole's quick notes is 1, heal from my trauma, number 1, and then realize that I have to work on myself as hard as I do on the business every single day. Secondly, building relationships and a network of people that are supporting the business that you're trying to build. So been really lucky about joining incredible Indigenous women business networking groups. I feel like that circle of women have really fueled Cheekbone all along the way, and have really empowered me as an entrepreneur. And will be eternally grateful for that, because I feel like that is such a key piece of entrepreneurship, is like building the networks of other people doing the same things as you are. And then realizing sometimes you're gonna just keep looking for different networks. And those networks then led me to speaking opportunities, And at every time I'm at a speaking event or a panel discussion, you get to meet somebody else who can possibly help you with something, or you can help them. And it's really this beautiful interchange and experience where it's like you're sharing and it becomes circles, right? Like, so that's so important, not only culturally, but I think as we grow business to continue to keep those circles growing. So I believe that's critical. And I think the last one is consistency. There's not one day in the last 5 years that I haven't gotten up and did something that moves Cheekbone a little tiny bit forward. So consistent daily efforts of working on the brand and the business. And then if you don't give up all of those things, like I truly believe you cannot fail. I don't have, and I'm always really clear about this, like I don't have any great skills. Like I really don't. I just working and doing this thing every single day. And then that's really gotten the business to where it is. I believe the business itself is a very powerful message. And, you know, the market, like was mentioned in the introduction, the beauty industry has never highlighted Indigenous faces. And so that's a piece of the market that was missing. And then the fact that we have this lab where we're actually making and creating products and bringing this whole sustained collection to the world, the beauty industry is also missing that. So we've just intersected at a very powerful place that I believe the beauty industry really, really needed.
If anybody else has any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat window. We have a little bit of time left. I know some of you probably have to drop off, so I wanted to do our giveaway just really quick while you're thinking of your next question. I ran we did a Google random generator thing, and the winner is Kelly Sagani. I hope I said your last name right. So Kelly, we will reach out to you to get your mailing address, and you will get these 2 fabulous beauty products in the mail in the next week. Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you, Change Labs.
Thank you.
Hi again, everybody. Thank you, Jenna, for an awesome presentation.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was my pleasure. So nice to meet all of you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you
Bye.
very much for
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you for your attendance and participating in today's workshop. Just an announcement again, we are hiring a community advocate and a communications and brand manager. Our website is nativestartup.org/jobs if you're interested in applying. We also have 4 Navajo business dialogue on COVID-19 setup in November and December. So November 10th is the first one at noon. Will be the tourism sector, and then food and hospitality November 17th, also at noon. Artisan and retail on December 1st, also at noon. And our priorities December 8th, also at noon. If you would like more information, you can go to nativestartup.org/COVID-19. And that's all I have for everyone. We hope to see you at the next webinar.